I'd like to welcome you to the Wednesday, February 9th, 2022 meeting of the Palm Springs Planning Commission. Can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Elaine?
Present.
Commissioner Irvin?
Present.
Commissioner Hirschbein?
Present.
Commissioner Miller?
Present.
Commissioner Marizzi?
Here.
Vice Chair Roberts?
Present.
Chair Womack?
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Can I have a report on the posting of the agenda?
Madam Chair and Planning Commissioners, our agenda was published on Thursday, February 3rd. Our meeting has been posted in accordance with state law.
Thank you. We're at the point on the acceptance of the agenda. I would like to move item 4A, West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation, for the final development plans for Planned Development District 390 to construct a 71-unit multiple family residential development into the consent calendar. I'm wondering, we have three new commissioners who did not go through a thorough hearing on this. Does anybody object to moving this item into the consent calendar?
I have just one architectural question to the applicant, and it's nothing that would affect my vote one way or the other, but it was just out of some interest as far as the rendering versus what's going to get built.
Why don't we hold it back in the regular agenda then?
Thank you.
Chair, I would second the consent calendar suggestion. Is it possible to vote on it rather than a full-scale presentation and just have discussion after with the developer?
We can't have discussion. I think in the last meeting, it's really not appropriate to have discussion with the developer after a vote on the item. So I think it's going to go very quickly. Why don't we go ahead with the meeting? Public comment, we're at a point. So my motion isn't, I don't think we're voting on my motion. I've withdrawn it. We're at public comments. The time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Planning Commission on consent calendar and other agenda items and items within the general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the Commission. Please note that the Commission is prohibited from taking action on items not listed on the posted agenda. Testimony for public hearing may be offered at this time. Members of the public who would like to comment on 1A, 3A, 3B, or 4A are directed to comment under this portion of the agenda. Mr. Knoll, do we have any members of the public who would like to speak?
No one has reached out to us, Madam Chair, but I do see on the call this evening, we do have the applicants for item 4A. So if they wish to speak, now would be the appropriate time. Otherwise, we can reserve the questions for the applicant at that time.
I would like to reserve the questions for the applicant when we get to item 4A, if they're agreeable.
That's fine with us. Thank you very much.
Great. Okay, so we are.
Madam Chair, before we move forward, can we just have a motion to accept the agenda as presented?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, the next item is the consent calendar, and it's the approval of the minutes of January 12th, 2022.
So moved unless there are some changes.
I'll second it.
And Commissioner Miller, you will need to recuse on that. Am I correct?
I will abstain from voting.
Can I have a motion, please? Or did I have a motion?
I've won.
Please call the roll, please.
Commissioner Marizzi?
Yes.
Commissioner Hirschbein?
Yes.
Commissioner Leon,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller, you're abstaining, correct?
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts,
Yes.
Chair Womack.
Yes.
Approved 6-0.
The next item is public hearings. Item 2A, the City of Palm Springs for a zone text amendment to amend Chapter 94.05 of the zoning code to allow residential densities on properties that have historically been permitted on hotel or commercial sites. And the staff recommendation is to continue this to a date uncertain. Can I have a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
Can you call the roll, please?
Vice Chair Roberts,
Yes.
Commissioner Leon,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hirschbein,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Maruzi,
Yes.
Chair Womack.
Yes.
Approved 7-0.
The third item is unfinished business. 3A, Hawkins and Marshall on behalf of Carmelita Properties Limited for a major architectural and administrative minor modification applications to construct a 3,465 square foot single-family residence on a 15,173 square foot hillside parcel located at 310 West Crestview Drive. The staff recommendation is to continue this to the regular meeting of February 23rd, 2022. Can I have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Before we vote, can I just ask a question about this and related to this 3B also? There was a request in a prior meeting to accurately reflect the poles and do a string line around the top of the poles. Is that going to be done before the 23rd?
It
Yeah.
has been, yes, it has been done.
Oh, okay. I wasn't notified of that. So it's up there now?
It just happened this week. So yes, it literally just happened this week. So you can go and visit the site, but we don't have the renderings yet for the project.
The renderings.
Because that
I
was
thought we-
another request
I thought-
from the commission.
Oh, the extra. Okay. All right. But the poles are up and the string is up.
Yeah, and I can send the commission the certification that we received. So you'll receive that via email this week.
Okay. Thank you.
I had a motion and a second. All in favor of continuing this item to
Aye.
February?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstaining? Item 3B, Hawkins and Marshall on behalf of Carmelita Properties Limited for a major architectural and administrative minor modification applications to construct a two-story, 3,291 square foot single-family residence with the maximum building height of 25.8 feet on an 11,206 square foot hillside parcel located at 322 West Crestview Drive. Staff recommendation is to continue this to the regular meeting of February 23rd, 2022. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. This item is continued. Number 4, new business, 4A, West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation for the final development plans for a planned development district 390 to construct a 71-unit multifamily residential development on a 1.76 acre site located at the southwest corner of West Stevens Road and North Palm Canyon Drive. A short staff report, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And let me just pull up my screen real quick. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see the screen. As you'll recall, this project was reviewed last year, January 2021, involving a total of 71 affordable housing units. These were the renderings that were presented at that time. And as you'll see tonight, the project has largely remained the same in terms of the proposed building forms, the layout, with the building fronting Palm Canyon and the parking behind, located on the west side of the property with access from Stevens Road. This was the preliminary development plan that was presented and approved by the Planning Commission and City Council. There were conditions when this project was approved about gating the rear portion or the Camino Norte portion of the project and restricting access for emergency vehicles only. So in the final development plan, the site plan here that you see, they do propose to install a wall and a new gate at that location. They will also have a pedestrian gate that is limited to resident access only. So this is the floor plan layout for the project site. As you can see, the community facilities are located at the top left of the screen, which is near the corner of Palm Canyon and Stevens, with the remainder of the site having garden spaces and the residential units, as well as the parking behind. This is the elevation along Palm Canyon near the street corner. So this is primarily where the communal facilities are located. And this was the preliminary development plan that was approved by City Council, including materials that are being proposed. When comparing this with the final development plan, it is fairly identical. There have been some minor refinements to the elevation in terms of the fenestration, the roof angles at the edges of the extended roof lines, and then just minor refinements, as I said, to fenestration. Another minor change that has been incorporated to the project is the addition of equipment wells near the center of the roofs. And so those are really to accommodate the mechanical equipment for the building. That is not shown in this rendering here, but this does give you a sense of what the project design looks like near the corner of Stevens and Palm Canyon. And again, that was the preliminary development plan. This is the final development plan. It is nearly identical. The one thing that's not depicted here are the roof equipment wells. When comparing the preliminary and final development plan, this table is part of your staff report. So we've identified what was shown in the preliminary development plan and the final development plan, and specific metrics that were part of are part of the project in terms of building square footage, finished floor height, and then the unit count, the unit sizes, and the parking. As you can see here, all of those metrics are essentially the same. There have been minor changes and refinements to the unit sizes in the final development plan. There are 3 criteria that the commission is required to make as a part of taking action and approving a final development plan, and you can see those here. It has to be substantially conforming to the preliminary development plan, which we've identified in the staff report and in the analysis that the project is. The plan has to be substantially conforming with any associated entitlements. So the primary entitlement here is the plan development. So there is really no other additional entitlements. And then lastly, any modifications or conditions that were imposed as a part of the preliminary development plan should be incorporated with the final development plan. So as I've noted, in the conditions when the project was approved, they required emergency access vehicle gate at the rear and pedestrian gate at the rear of the project. So they've incorporated that requirement into the design. There was a condition related to encouraging a commercial component in the project, and that while that was an encouragement to the applicant, that has not been incorporated. But again, it was an encouragement and not a requirement. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions of staff? Seeing,
I have a question. Mr. Newell, the staff report refers throughout, and the conditions seem to refer to lower income households. Is that, which is kind of a generic term, are these to be covenant and restricted for low income, very low income, or extremely low income? Or is there any moderate in that?
Yes, so they are restricted. They will be restricted for a period of 55 years. Just trying to pull up my table.
I'm just wondering, as fulfillment of our RENA obligations, which category this will help us meet?
Yes, it will help the city meet or get closer towards achieving our RENA numbers. And in terms of the specifics, I would probably need the applicant to give us the specifics, but they are the lower income thresholds. So not moderate or above moderate. It is the low and very low and extremely low income categories.
if it's tax credits, and it's 100% limited to 60% of AMI. And then some of the units are further, in my memory is some of the units were further reduced. If Mr. Carson is here, maybe he could answer that question.
I'm going to defer to Matt, who is in the call. Matt, would you mind?
Hello, yes, can you hear me? My name is Matt Mason. I'm the Director of Real Estate Development for West Hollywood Community Housing Corporation. Half of our units should meet the very low definition, and the other half should meet the low.
We lost your last few words.
Oh, I'm sorry. So of our 69 low-income units, half of those will meet the very low level, and that's 32 units. And then, I'm sorry, that's 46%, not exactly half. And then the remaining 37 units would meet the definition of low income.
Okay, you're missing 2. And the reason I ask this is I would like to have in the conditions of approval that we spell out what income categories those make, especially because we're getting very low, which is great and wonderful. I want to make sure that we actually do get that, so that helps us with that portion of RENA, which is even more difficult to get than low income.
The other 2 units are full-time on-site manager units, which are not regulated when it comes to.
Okay, sorry, and I guess that should be 3 units. There's total 7. Okay, thank you.
If I'm correct, and this is for Matt and also for staff, the city did require the percentages either in the land sale agreements, I think funding agreements, and or they're probably not in these approvals, but are they?
That is correct. Pardon me, I'm sorry. So the city's disposition and development agreement and the city's purchase and sale agreements spell out the income maximums for all of the low income units.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions of staff? Seeing none, are there questions of the applicant? Commissioner Hirschbein had questions.
Yeah, like I said, it's not going to affect my vote one way or the other, but I was very curious. Is the architect on the call?
We are, yes.
Great. So the renderings we were presented last year, just kind of knocked my socks off in their beauty. And so thank you for that. And one thing that made it really seductive was that knife edge on the fascia of the shed roofs or the slope roofs. And I was curious as to how you were going to achieve that when it got to the working drawings. But what will the thickness of that fascia wind up being?
So it is a chamfered fascia, so it does have that knife edge on it. That is. You know what the depth is? Roughly. The depth is probably on the order of like 14 to 18 inches. We've added 2 pieces of XPS foam to the top of it. We're exceeding Title 24 by I think about 10%. And that foam helps insulate the solar loads from the Palm Springs sun. But yeah, at the, so it's, let's say 14 to 18 inches thick, but then there's a bevel on it, right? So it bevels up at about a 45. So out up at the edge, you're at near 0 as it comes up to the top edge.
So in terms of the rendering, it'll wind up looking something like that then.
It'll look very much like the rendering, yes, sir.
Okay, great. All right, that was my question. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other questions of the applicant? Can I have a motion? I believe we can make the findings with this. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, before we vote or have a motion vote, I do need to disclose that I have met with a representative of the applicant on this project before the meeting.
Thank you. Can I have a motion on this item, please? A motion to approve on this item.
I will move staff recommendation to approve it as presented.
I'll second that.
Can you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Lane,
Yes.
Commissioner Marucci,
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Hirschbein,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Vice Chair Roberts.
You're muted, Vice Chair Roberts.
Yes.
Chair Womack.
Yes, with pleasure. The motion passes unanimously. We are at Planning Commission reports, requests, and comments. Are there any?
I have one. In terms of the SB9, and I know I asked Flynn this a couple of meetings ago, but it'd just be of some interest to know how many projects under SB9 are being submitted. And if maybe we could have sort of a quarterly number on that, I think it would help us understand its impact to meeting our goals on some of these state mandates. And just some interest to me as well on just a knowledge level, see if this is working for us.
Commissioner Hirschbein, yes. At this point, we haven't received any. We've received inquiries about the process, and but at this point, we have not received any formal applications. So, but we're certainly happy to provide updates to the commission.
Thank you.
And we did appoint a committee of 3 to work on, and it hasn't yet met. We appointed Commissioner Hirschbein to chair the committee, Commissioner Miller, and Commissioner Marucci. You did request being on that committee, Commissioner Hirschbein.
Did I request chairing it?
No, but I am appointing you chair.
Okay, so
Many of the questions are architectural.
Sorry?
Many of the questions that will come before you are architectural.
Okay.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a sense of when the road extension will come before us again? I know there's a lot of research and other work that has to be done based on our last meeting.
I don't have an update on that because we're still doing the research. So it's going to come down to the additional environmental analysis that may be required and the time frame to get through that process. As you know, we had proposed an exemption for that project, but I think based on the comments we received, an exemption may not be the appropriate environmental determination. So if that does require further environmental analysis, that could mean it might be 6 months, 3 months. It just depends on how long it takes to get through the process with that.
Okay. I'd like to make a comment as well. Is this the right time?
You actually passed it because we're at the director's report, but go back, we'll go backward.
But I'm not the director.
No, Planning Commission reports, requests and comments. We did pass over that, but if you do want to make a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that the city of Desert Hot Springs approved 150-foot height limit for fulfillment centers, one-upping Palm Springs. So I guess 95 wasn't simply enough. I think it's shocking, personally, 150 feet. And we were, the subcommittee had recommended no higher than 60 feet for Palm Springs, and it was agreed upon to be 95 feet by council. But 150 feet, my stars.
I thought they went to 120.
150.
Huh. I would assume at some point, will any distribution centers come before us under, I guess they would come under major architectural? Is that correct, Mr. Newell?
So correct. They would come back. They would be before the Planning Commission under a development permit under the new architectural review process.
Okay. Any other Planning Commissioner comments? Moving to the director's report, are there any comments or reports, Mr. Newell?
Just a brief update about the next meeting, and it will be a little bit busier than this meeting. So we expect a little bit longer of a meeting next week or in 2 weeks. We've got a change of zone application, a conditional use permit, our annual update to the zoning code. So we'll have several items that will require additional time than we spent tonight together. So just as a heads up, and that's all I have, Madam Chair.
And we have two homes in the Mesa, don't we?
And we'll have the homes that we continue tonight. Correct.
Well, you've spoiled us with a 31-minute meeting tonight. This concludes our meeting. The meeting is adjourned. Look forward to seeing you all in 2 weeks.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you.